Hello friends, I am Dr. Saurabh Arora and you're listening to Podcast on Health, Homeopathy and Research. Today's podcast is about a remedy called Colchicinum. And in homeopathic practice, we might have used this remedy, and today we're going to learn something more of a deeper aspect of this remedy with the clear-cut clinical indications. Usually it is prescribed in the low triturated forms, but many people they do consider using high potencies. Okay, so this is basically used in the lower potencies, the trituration tablets and the potencies. Broadly, the clinical uses can be for the intestinal ailments, for the convulsions, rheumatic fevers, endocarditis, pericarditis, pleurisy, arthritis deformans in early stages, etc. So when I searched the repertory, I could find really interesting rubrics in the repertory, that in synthesis repertory. For example, if I go to chest, I would find inflammation of heart, pericardium, that is rheumatic. In extremities, I have rubrics like clenching fingers, inflammation of the joint, which is chronic, jerking of the hands, which is of a convulsive jerking, especially of the right hand. The joint pains are gouty, rheumatic. There are twitchings, which are convulsive twitching, especially of hands. Broadly, it covers the fever, heat in general with all these conditions. And when I move to the generalities, the general chapter, I found that this is covered in the rubrics like collapse, conversions, inflammation, that of joints, especially the deformans arthritis, weakness. In rectum, it covers the diarrhea, pain during stool, tenesmus. It also affects your sleep, sleepiness, and also the sleeplessness. And you can very well imagine if the patient is having too much of arthritic complaints, he is tend to have that sleeplessness. In stomach, it may cause eructations because it has an action on the mucous membrane of the stomach, and the urine can be cloudy. Now all these things are from the repertory. When we search the materia medica, for example, if we look on the information from the Dictionary of Practical Materia Medica by J.H. Clark, the clinical uses indicated are diarrhea, fever, intestinal catarrh, prostration, sleeplessness, and spasms. And the Clark says that this alkaloid has been proved and the symptoms are sufficiently distinctive. I'm not aware of any clinical experience with it. The symptoms point strongly to its use in the form of intestinal catarrh characterized by appearance of shreddy membranes, and the symptoms convulsive jerking of right hand should prove a valuable indication, if not a keynote. Now at this point in time, this should be related with the remedies like arsenicum album, causticum, and colchicum. So this colchicinum has more deeper actions on the membranes and the rheumatic part. Now coming to the Encyclopedia of Pure Materia Medica by T.F. Allen, if we refer to the Scoff's proving, there are certain symptoms which are of worth discussing here. So I would discuss them one by one. The eyes were dilated. This has tearing pain. The mouth has increased saliva. Now you can relate the major pointers to this remedy: the pupils, the tearing pains in the face, and the increased saliva because of the action on the mucous membrane. In stomach, the main symptoms can be eructations with nausea and great desire to vomit. Even if the nausea is slight, there is an uncomfortable sensation which distracts the attention of the patient. The vomiting can be of greenish substance for 9 or 10 days with the pain in the epigastric region and excessive sensitiveness of the epigastric region. So all these symptoms are from the T.F. Allen Pure Materia Medica. Now you can imagine the description of these symptoms: the stomach, the mucous membrane, the affection, the vomiting, and if it is of prolonged and if it is of prolonged persisting in nature. With this, the abdomen can be distended and sensitive, with frequent rumbling of the bowels. Rectum has urging to stool, causing the patient to leave his bed, followed by copious pasty evacuation with excessive tenesmus. That was repeated 3 times with a short period. So if the patient is having rheumatic complaints, the tenesmus and the pains and the nausea, do consider Colchicinum as one of the comparative materia medica remedy with the other remedies. Moving to stools, it is written that there were 2 stools on the second day, 1 on the third day, 3 on the fourth day, all accompanied by tenesmus and consisting of a thin fluid with numerous flakes, looking like the cooked white of an egg. Pieces from 2 to 4 lines long. The stools are thin, yellowish green, slimy, and they may be liquid stool, the diarrhea with tenesmus. If we come to general symptoms, it is a remedy that has great exhaustion, with the feverish complaint, the excitement which lasts for days, for 2 days, 3 days, and the patient is obliged to keep his bed. There may be sleepiness and sleeplessness both, with slight collapse like symptoms. So you can very well compare this remedy at this point in time with the baptisia, with the arnica, with the gelsemium, where there is a fever, somnolence and collapse. The fever of the colchicinum appeared as a chill about noon, followed by a violent heat which lasts for several hours with increased thirst, rapid pulse, confusion of head, uneasiness and sleeplessness. Now, all these symptoms, they revolve around this sphere only: the rheumatic sphere, the mucous membrane sphere and the intestinal sphere. So if we get all these spheres at one place, use of colchicinum can be of very valuable aid in our homeopathic clinical practice. And I would request you to please share your views and feedback for the use of colchicinum in low, high or the medium potency. I do use colchicinum, but in low potency, in 3x and 6x. And this can be used as a very good remedy, a supportive remedy with the other major constitutional remedies when it comes to the patient who has arthritis deformans, those who have intestinal and conjunctive symptoms appearing at one point in time. So your valuable feedback would be useful for me to learn more about this remedy. Thank you so much for your patient listening. Have a nice day.